Good morning. Welcome to Viking Preparedness. I am Pastor Joe Fox. You'll hear Sister Kate banging around in the background there. Has a little cold, but no kidney stones. Hallelujah. Hey, I want to address a comment/question series of questions that Carolyn P. posted in reference to my YouTube post where I did a shout out to our very own NWA Prepper and talked about leadership of prepper groups. It was his idea. I just grabbed onto it and ran with it a little bit. And I talked about leaving the group a little bit, but she had some more specific questions. And those were basically these. What does one do when a group member leaves the group, the crew, the team, before the balloon goes up? And in her friend's case, it's not about me, it's about a friend. In her friend's case, it wasn't just any member of the group. I guess it was one of the founders of the group, or the founder, leaving the group, and not a nice person, evidently, and knows everything about the group and their patterns and who has what and yada yada. What do you do? Well, a couple things. Spin off of that. Number one is OPSEC, bro. One has to have circles within circles. So I guess I should have started big if it's circles within circles, right? So do groups. A tight group is going to know pretty much everything about everybody. But I'll give you an example of some things the group doesn't need to know. What's your personal family bump in the night plan? Where are your family assets hidden, secured, stored? What is your personal family plan outside of the group for different emergencies? It all goes back to the need to know. If there's not a need for somebody to know something, they don't need to know it, and you don't tell them. What are some things that could get people tripped up? What about how much food you have? That might be a need to know. The group may want to know, be convinced that every member of the group has the minimum amounts of food storage, and they want to see it and inspect it. That's perfectly reasonable. So what if your group standard is 12 buckets of food per person? We want to see it. If you're going to be part of this group, you got to show that you're meeting the standards. Okay. Tell them to come over on Saturday and have the 12 buckets of food per person sitting on your front porch, or in the backyard or whatever. They don't have to see the other 180 buckets of food you have. You don't need to show them your pantry per se. Everyone has to have an AR-15 and a Glock 19. All right, bring it to training and show people. Doesn't mean you need to open up your 5 gun safes and show them everything else you have. Those types of things. So that's one. Be careful what you tell people. But at the same time, with a group, you got to open up, right? You do have to be vulnerable to a degree to develop trust. But here's the thing, you know everything about this other person too, right? From the tone of the questions, I got the impression that there was a little fear of this person. Maybe when the balloon goes up, they'll come take our stuff or interrupt our plans or dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Let me tell you something. You need fear and no man or woman. You don't need to fear anybody. They should be just as afraid of you, except you've got the rest of the group, the rest of the crew, and they're a onesie out there. They should be more afraid of you if push comes to shove. See my point? But let's just keep going with that. What do? It's kind of like when the government finds out, oh crap, this person has been spying, one of our people has been spying on us for the last 10 years. Whether we caught them or they just defected to, Russia or something. The first thing that happens is they do an in-depth assessment of everything that person had access to and knew. So it's probably a good idea, in the case of this person who has left the group, to sit down and figure out what exactly did they know? Do they know? And of the things that they know, what needs protecting? You're going to have to change that stuff. If you have a group cache in the national forest of, 15 rifles, first aid, and food, and y'all help put it together over 3 training periods or something, you're going to have to move that. Yep. You're going to have to go dig it up, move it. Sooner the better. If they know that you've got these kind of security devices around the perimeter of your retreat, you're going to have to change that. You're going to have to move them around, add new ones, whatever. You're going to have to change it, because if they are a potential threat, whether directly or indirectly by selling the information, you just got to deal with it. Number 3, you got to be ready to deal with it. In the end, if this person is going to come show up at your place, kick in your door, and take your food, be mentally, emotionally, and everything else prepared to deal with that. An enemy's an enemy. Doesn't matter who they were. Anyone who intends to do you or yours harm is a bad guy or bad girl. And you treat them like any other bad guy or bad girl, unfortunately. But that's all you can do. Change things up as much as you can, and prepare to repel borders, on the other hand. That's all I can tell you right now, right here. But here's the bottom line. You have to value your life and the lives of your people. What's that worth to you? That's where you make your decisions. Tough ones sometimes. All right. I'll see you out there.